vakadi linjani lonke tinokugamuchirai muchirongwa che-community talk. Welcome to this program organized by the Social Work Council to commemorate International Mother's Day with the theme Social Work for Social Justice, Creating a Conducive Environment for Motherhood. In the program, we shall hear from 3 mothers in the Social Work Department. These include Gloria Chikumbirike, a mother of 4, and is also a student with the Midland State University. We also have Eclipse Royembo Marufu, or Mrs. Choto, a mother of 2, who is also a case management officer with the DSD and is also passionate in child protection. Then we have Mai Chikaka, who is also a social worker. So to begin our program, let's hear the ladies discussing about motherhood, what motherhood is, and can we also classify the male figure as a part, or are they also involved in motherhood? What could be some of the pains and challenges that are associated with motherhood in Zimbabwe?
Motherhood, for me, does not refer to the experience of having carried and birthed someone. Motherhood is a blessing and a unique opportunity to speak life into being in another individual or human being. Motherhood is the ability to guide, and the grace that is given to you to guide the lives of others. So the meaning of the word motherhood has changed with time, because not every female is maternal and not every mother is nurturing. So it becomes important for us to realize that motherhood is a unique experience given to you by whatever deity or power you believe in, that will assist you to do what is best for these children or whoever is being placed in your care. I am of the opinion that males can be involved in motherhood, because what we take as motherhood and what has been taken as motherhood is in the context of being nurturing, caring, being emotionally available, being emotionally supportive. So what then matters is, even as we're doing our social work out with the public, is to reprogram each other and say to be a mother is not to be female. Because looking culturally into the African context, the sekurus, which are the maternal uncles or malume, play a vital role in mothering our children, because they are our male mothers, yeah? They do the motherly duty even though they're male. So being a mother is not limited to sexual orientation. It's not limited to gender roles. It is limited only by how you look at it and how you're willing to take a role in your children's lives.
The most pain in Africa, Zimbabwe included, I think it's about lack of resources. You know, it's very difficult for a mother to see her children go to sleep on an empty stomach, going to school without enough things that are supposed to be carried by a normal child going to school, having children doing child labor so they can make ends meet, not having a proper healthy system that can cover for certain ailments. For instance, I had a daughter who had a heart problem. I had to go to as far as Italy for an operation. Imagine for an ordinary person, we are living in Zimbabwe, not enough resources. How are they looking at your child, not having proper health care? It's very difficult as a mother to see your child in pain and not being able to do anything, and knowing that the help is so far away, and sometimes you cannot even reach the help wherever it is. I think that's the most challenging thing in Zimbabwe and Africa as a whole.
Well, I am of the notion that we need to really look deeply into the issue of single mothers, especially who come from low-income households, because there's big issues to do with food insecurity, which is leaving both the mothers and the children vulnerable. The children become vulnerable in terms of the mothers might bring in men who will be taking care of dietary needs, but with the biggest potential of abuse. So I think the biggest group that we need to target are, one, single mothers from low-income households, and two, maybe mothers who are just showing signs of not coping well in terms of support groups for postnatal depression. Some of the pains associated with motherhood in Africa. I'd like to point out what happens usually when a mother gives birth out of wedlock. There's still a sense of unacceptance of children or different treatment purely on the basis that the father of this child is absent. It does not count that the mother can financially support the children. It does not count that she does the best she can, but it is a pain when you become a mother and there is no father in the picture, because it's the way the society views your child and the way they view you. There's a sense of looking at the mother as incapable because she's had a child out of wedlock. Another challenge that I see for mothers in Africa, but this is not just specific to Africa, is the duplication of roles or duality of roles. She's in the workplace, she's expected to give 100%. To the children, she's expected to give 100%. In the marriage, she's expected to give 100%. That puts a lot of pressure on the females at work. Like, for example, if you were to go to work and leave your child unwell, it is, especially with these new systems they want to introduce of you get paid by the hour, how much you work. If you give up hours at work to go and take care of your child, you're also being forced to take bread out of their mouths. These are some things that should be considered in terms of employment. For example, if there were daycare in the workplace, the mother might not need to actually just leave her job to check on the child. If you had an on-site clinic in the workplace, it would make life easier for the mother. We also have issues to do with lack of facilities or helplines that assist mothers who are going through postnatal depression. Being a mother is something that we don't get prepared for. We get prepared for the baby's arrival in terms of clothing, in terms of a room, in terms of everything else. We look at the medical aspect of the type of help a mother should get post and pre-giving birth. But we do not look at the effects that motherhood can have on somebody. It might not turn out to be as good as they thought, or it might turn out to be harder than they thought. There's no proper support there for women who are going through postnatal depression. There's also the issue of when single mothers, there's been a rise in single mothers in the last, let's say 15 years. We do not have the proper facilities to assist them, because the assistance that they need might not be in terms of financial assistance, but they might just need something that makes them feel secure when they're at work and there's care for the children. The pay or the wages that are being received are not good enough for a woman to actually say, I can adequately take care of my family. There's a lot of trauma attached to mothers having to choose between working for their children's tummies or being home with them. So it is essential for us to focus on those things and say those are some of the pains that we as women are experiencing, where we can't take enough the sick days off. Like for me personally, I've got 4 children in my home under the age of 12. You can imagine if one gets the flu, how many days I'm struggling with the flu. So it's important for us to look at women and recognize their contribution on a social level, in the family and at work, and to see that in order for motherhood to work, in order for us to raise full-rounded children, their mothers also need to be in a healthy space where they can afford to rest enough in order to be the best that they can.
Let's also hear what our panelists had to say about the progress that is associated with motherhood in Zimbabwe.
Well, for me in Zimbabwe, the biggest progression has been, I remember when we were younger, we could not go get a birth certificate, a passport, without a father being present. I'm very happy with the way that things have changed, that a mother who's a single mother can get documentation for their child even in the absence of the father. Also, as much the stigma is still there towards unmarried mothers, single mothers, teenage mothers, but I'd like to just say, like, in some places we're seeing positive change towards the way that families receive teenage pregnancies sometimes. Also, I'm grateful for the progress that's been made in terms of if a girl falls pregnant. A few years back, they couldn't go back into school really early. So I'm very happy to see that at least even when our girl children fall pregnant in schools, there's a support system of some kind that's around it to allow them to chase their dreams and to go forward with their academics and professions. So that much I appreciate. I'm very happy about.
Gloria Chikumbirike commented on what the social work profession can do to ensure that our mothers continue to thrive.
As social workers, I think we have a pivotal role in helping mothers to thrive, because a healthy mother has healthy children, and those healthy children are tomorrow's mothers and fathers. We do not want to risk a brokenness in one mother, which might then turn pathological and be generation by generation suffering from the brokenness of a mother or the lack of a mother figure in the household. So for me personally, I think the first step that we should take in terms of the types of interventions we're giving in communities might be to focus mostly on developmental social work. If we're going to start aiding people, because that's the problem with our country currently, that when we're giving aid, it's financial aid that barely meets the bare minimum. It's food aid that we give once or twice a year. But we need to change that focus and empower the mother. How do we empower the mother? Let's look at community resources and put them in the control of families that need it. For example, if we're going to start a nutrition garden, it should not be a nutrition garden that is just for the food for the children to eat, that is just for selling. It should be something that teaches a mother skills that help her to live with the children for as long as she can. It might be a good idea to speak to councils and get small plots of land for these single mothers or mothers in need to assist them to, and give them the knowledge as well, to assist them to provide for their families. That's the first one. The second one is we need to actually educate each other on what it means to be a parent. There needs to be open doors for people who just need counseling and guidance in terms of how to be the best parent. Because I can only be as good a parent as I grew up seeing. And most people are not growing up in the most supportive environments. So we need to open doors for counseling. We need more facilities that support problems that are related to motherhood. For teenage mothers, they need a different type of counseling. Post-giving birth and during pregnant, it's the same for single mothers. They need it when they become single mothers or even when they give birth as single mothers. There needs to be support in forms of provision, in forms of emotional support, psychosocial support. All of those things are very, very important. So unfortunately, we are not resourced. But hopefully the little resources or donations we get, we should try and aim them towards sustainable projects. Like, you might need a community daycare with trained social workers and trained caregivers and CCTV to watch the children so that our children are not at risk. A mother can be the most productive that she can be. So those are my thoughts. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to engage in this conversation. What I would like to leave as a message is as a social work profession, we're taking on the roles of both mothers and fathers to children without. In those shoes, I'd like to encourage all of us to keep being optimistic and coming up with the best innovations that we can to nurture our children, because your child is our child. The children without, they're all of us' child. We need to do the best that we can. Also, to just encourage each other that as much as the profession is harder in Zimbabwe, like the caseloads are crazy, I appreciate your abilities to remember each one child for who they are. The moment a social worker from the Department of Social Development sees the face of the child, it amazes me that with all of those files, they can still remember the child's name, the child's circumstances, and the openness that's there to assisting the children. I hope this keeps going forward, and I hope we can open doors to support mothers who are struggling and mothers who are coming in to adopt. They need our support, they need our acceptance, they need our guidance, and we need you for this generation of children who are being parented over the phone. We need you, social workers, for this generation of children whom us parents are not very familiar with. So much gratitude for the work that you're doing.
There we have it, people. Thanks to our panelists for such a wonderful discussion to commemorate Mother's Day. And also much thanks to Tagwell Chajgiwanembwa and the Social Work Council for such an important discussion. On behalf of the Community Voices Zimbabwe, I would like to say Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers. I'm Perseverance Javangwe. See you in the next episode.